I've placed in the floor plan for this office building in the out of town warehouse and factory area, and now it's just a matter of building this up. That fan was a little bit louder than I thought it was. do the exterior walls. It's just taking a while because it's a fairly large building. It is interesting that there aren't any windows in the hallway, at least along the back side. Granted, the view is limited, but it's just a surprise. Sometimes this is easier to place in certain sections like the frame for these windows, since they're only going to be on the bottom all at one time. Sorry for my coughing. With some of the ones like here, I need to place in a solid one window because the doors will basically sort of interfere. Although I can... No, I can't do that. I need to place a solid one on the top as well. It's basically because the doors are on the side while these windows are in the center of a block. So if I were to use a panel on beside a door, it wouldn't line up with the door. Or these window panes, I should say. Going to use these oak doors specifically for office buildings or going into offices, since it fits the nature of, well, the fact that this is an office building. For the storage room, I'll use this more solid door, and also for the back entrance right here going into the storage room, and also for the bathroom doors. And also this door leading up to the roof. And this will go over the most of the doors. Thinking I need to decide if I'm going to do that here or not, because I sort of like how the glass look is. I think that takes care of most of the... no, one more. That takes care of the frames, both glass frames and also door frames. Forgot one window. Maybe more. Yeah, one more. Might have forgotten the back exit as well. So there are 3 exits. One right here leading into this storage room. And 2 sort of main entrances. One a little bit bigger than the other. Okay, there's the stairs. Right here leading upstairs to a small hold on. Sorry about that. Just having some slight problems coughing. Now it's just a matter of placing it in the roof. And also making sure I've got the door on the roof, or the small room on the roof. Make sure that's in correctly. And really it's just the only thing in the stairs. So basically it's just simple stairs leading up to the roof. Or roof access. Although I might have miscalculated. part of the roof actually sticks up a little bit higher. Shouldn't take too terribly long to put in the roof. It's just a matter of going back and forth and making sure everything's covered. door about right here. Actually, I might raise this by one more. Question now is, how high should this section be? I think this might be a little bit too much. This one, I know what I can do. I'll use a slab. That way it looks like a full block right here, and you can jump on it, and it's not too high. And it's also not too low. Okay, I almost have the parking lot for this building in. I think this area right here is sort of an unofficial parking space. I live in a small town and there are a few businesses that are like this. I mean, quite a few actually. They don't really have parking spots mapped out or anything like that. It's just basically just an open lot. Usually it works out, but then again, there's not a huge amount of traffic. Okay, so that takes care of all of the warehouses and the factories and office buildings that I can do on this side down here. There are some more on the Project Zomboid map, but they would be off screen according to this map right here. And I'm kind of limited in the size of the map that I can use for the PlayStation 4 currently. Maybe it might change and I might be able to expand on it, but for the moment this is the largest map I have. The actual map from the Project Zomboid game is pretty large. Okay, next thing to place in right here at least is a fence which runs through most of the duration back here. And it's a partial fence that can be used in Project Zomboid. There's another place like this as well, and it looks like for a later base that might go in, probably Fort Knox. But at most, there's a huge swath of fence around it that can be closed off if needed to block out zombies. And there's a lot of housing that can be taken over for multiplayer. It'll take a while to actually cover the entire distance, but that might also change as the the main map is updated. The game map, I should say, not just the game. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. That's it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. About right here. And this fence is fairly high. Your character can't climb it, and neither can zombies. Now this runs the length of this outfit right here, all the way to roughly where the car shop is, just behind it. and it's mostly open field between this fence and where the businesses are. It's just a lot of grass that's grown up. Once I've got this roughly lined up with the side of this building, and it should be fairly close from right about here. Then I need to also move it in this direction, roughly lined up with the warehouse that's right in front of me, and to the left just a little bit. So what this at least provides is a barrier between the zombies coming in from the tree line. And once you get further into the skill set of the game, you can also build other walls and close off this area to make a base if you wanted to. So I'm going to do a flyover of this out of town factory and office area. This one is mostly just offices, and it's the one I just worked on now. Over here, this building right here is a warehouse tied to this factory right here with a factory floor in this area right here. Many of the factory floors usually extend up 2 floors with a few offices in this area right here, and also access to the roof, which is pretty useful if you're going to use the roof to spot zombies. And given in a lot of areas there is a pretty large kill zone and pretty much large spotting area on the Project Zomboid map. Part of this parking lot was cut off, and in the Project Zomboid map, but not here, is another building which is off right here, a little ways, which is an office map. Office building. Down the road there's a diner before it joins in with a main highway. And that's quite a distance down. There was no way I could put that in. And because this is on the edge of the map and I didn't really want to move the position of the buildings, I ended up having to slightly alter this building right here. This building in the Project Zomboid map is much larger. And it's a combination of a warehouse and offices. Not really a factory in the same vein as the other two factories over there. It also has trailers for some storage, which in the game also has some supplies on the inside. Some of these boxes and these trailers are pretty good to go to if you're looking for some supplies. It's usually hit and miss if you're what you're gonna get, but often it's easy to get into. This right here was not necessarily a factory or warehouse, but it's more of a car garage, and it looks like a repair garage. Next on the list is a second factory right here with a detached warehouse right here. And this one also has a small warehouse that is attached to it, but it looks like it's a loading bay. And a few offices right in here. This only looks like this at the moment because I haven't had a chance to place in the carpet, which represents the basic highway, or in this case the road. The tree line for this area is on this other side of this fence right here, and I'll fill that in else another time. And that takes care of a lot of the major buildings. There's one more large group of buildings for me to work on, and that is on the other side of Muldraugh, and it is a railroad depot. Fairly large railroad depot with warehouses, and I'm going to go there before I end the stream for the moment. Some of the dirt blocks are just simply placing it to make sure all the measurements and where the roads end, where the roads turn are in the right places. This will do a short flyover of Muldraugh as I'm on my way to the railroad map. Some of these areas don't have a lot of trees at the moment, but they're going to also have the area right here. I still need to place in oak and birch trees, so it's going to be a little bit more filled in. Some of the small lakes are in, such as this right here, or really ponds. and following the railroad for the moment. Once I've placed in the railroad, then there are a few small buildings. There's a few cabins. There's also a farm and 1 or 2 trailers. Actually 3 or 4 trailers probably. But they're spread out. And then it's the major work is placing in these trees. And once I've got all the trees in and all that done, I'll be able to offer a downloadable map for the first version, which will be with mostly empty buildings that anyone can, if they wanted to, can decorate. And this is part of the railroad side. It's got some of the places where the storage will be. This is where one of them will be, right here in this area. And some areas are already sectioned off, like this area right here I've got partially cut out. And there's going to be an office building right here. Office building, parking lot. Quite a few buildings in this area. And actually this is one of the more easy places to block off, since there are only a few places that aren't already blocked off by fence of some type. This line of stone slab right here will represent where the fence line will be, and it covers pretty much the entire area around it, with the exception of a road, an area where the railroad tracks leave, and the area I just came from, that being the largest area where there's not a huge section. So if you can cover those 3 areas, then you can pretty much secure this entire railroad area. And there are a few buildings that can be used as stopgap places, such as this place is one of the weak points until you can get the skill set to build walls and to block off this area right here, because otherwise there'll be fence like this right here. And the same type of fence, well, similar type of fence is used in Project Zomboid. This will just give a small view of it. The biggest weak point of this area is, oops, is this section of the railroad at the end of this area, and that is simply because it's a large area fence that isn't there currently, at least. And it represents where you'd have, that is in this area right here, stretching from this point to the other side over here. And what I'm doing right now is going over to make sure I've got everything in the right place, but it would be roughly to over here if this is the current, if this is measured out right. If it's not, I may need to adjust it. But this area right here is completely open. But fortunately the tree line is quite a ways back in Project Zomboid, so it becomes a little bit easier to spot, but this is a large area to actually cover until you can build walls, and then from there it's just, all you need to do is just build a wall from here all the way to where this train track turns here and seal off this area. There's a fence area that joins about right here. Anyway, that's one area that can be used in Project Zomboid. The only thing about this area is if you need to do work in this area, you need to be able to at least build rain barrels, because there aren't any wells, and eventually the water does get turned off in the game. Sometimes faster than others, but that depends upon how you set up the game. So when I next stream, I probably might be working on some of the other buildings or in this area. This depends. Some of the miscellaneous buildings out in the middle of nowhere. I've got some of them mapped out, and I still need to fill out some of the road areas for this right here before I start doing major work. I've been trying to do most of the building work with streams and doing the road work and this type of work right here off stream. So thank you for watching, and that is it for now.